Hello everybody and welcome to another countdown video with me, Pentahybrid. If you haven't heard of Dicey Dungeons by now, you gotta get out to your local Steam store webpage and pick up this gem. It's an insanely deep and charming roguelite focused around various dice characters, whom each have totally different ways to play. And I mean totally different ways. Not your garden variety roguelite classes that have a different stat than the other ones. So today I'll be going over my official ranking of the 6 characters in the game. Keep in mind these are my rankings and my own preferences, so feel free to let me know down below in the comments what your rankings of the characters are. I'd love to see how varied our choices can be. But before jumping in, do keep in mind that I'm basing my choices off of the standard Episode 1 versions of the characters, them in their purest forms, so without further ado, let's get into the number 6 spot. The Majestic Warrior. Speaking of garden variety in the introduction to the video, this might be as close as you'll get to that. After this, it's all wacky nonsense. The Warrior is easy, it's just that simple. He's the default character of the game for a reason. His entire meta is getting big cabbage. And by cabbage I mean damage. I didn't make a typo in my script, you're drunk. You can very easily stack up a massive amount of damage with the equipment you snag combined with the Warrior's Fury ability, which then doubles the next action. Because of the simplicity and overall default feel of the Warrior, he falls into the back of my rankings. I'm very hopeful that as I climb through further episodes of him, he'll grow on me more, but for standard runs, I'm sorry Warrior fans. What I can only describe as an incredibly disappointing character to me, the Inventor tears down her equipment after each fight and turns it into a reusable gadget for the next fight. This mechanic can allow the player to plan accordingly to forge a run around the gadgets best to use in the next combat situation or boss fight. It's a really great idea for a character, however where the Inventor falls short in my eyes is that the player is forced to recycle their own run they've built. It's a mechanic that I personally feel spoils the gameplay of a roguelite, where the whole point is to build a run you're confident you can win with. And while I enjoy the idea, and it may grow on me over time as I play, it's not an incredibly fun character to me, and thusly falls into the 5th place of the rankings. The Jester is the best written character in the game, is insanely charming, and is relatively easy to unlock with enough patience. His main gameplay mechanic is utilizing a deck of cards in sets of 3 per hand from a default deck of 9. You then proceed to add or remove cards from the deck in the typical deck building fashion to hopefully form a deck you can wipe the floor with the boss's face. I've said deck way too many times now, let's reverse. The Jester is a huge amount of fun and introduces what is to me the 3rd most unique mechanic of the game. Deck building just simply isn't a new thing and has been done in many roguelites over the past 2 or 3 years. It's because of this that he falls a bit off for me. While incredibly fun to play and definitely a great twist on the usual dice mechanics of the game, I have to remain grounded, and because of that, Jester sits at number 4 on my ranking. This little bastard, little green thief, this was my least favorite character my first 3 times playing as him. I couldn't stand him. And then in rogue fashion, he stole my heart with his dice manipulation. The thief has so much control over his own dice. It's silly, and I had no idea that was even possible when I first tried. With splitting, duplicating, flipping, swapping, bumping, poison, and passion, the thief will make you feel like a dice god at the end of the 4th or 5th floor if things fall in your favor, and you realize the skills presented to you. But the thief's special ability makes him even better. The ability to roll extra ones as this character with his dice manipulation is so big. It's so huge and vital to those runs. The thief is incredibly fun to play, and you should enjoy him. Sitting comfortably at the number 2 spot on my ranking is the Witch. The Witch is a tabletop character, designed as if you were playing a tabletop role-playing game. Every turn as the Witch is like taking a turn as a wizard in D&D. You have to plan and prepare your actions and spells to make the most out of every situation. This includes tabletop spell mechanics like bouncing, flipping, and stacking. Skills that just make my seat heat up. This is the character that requires pretty much all skill. I'll put it at like a 90-10 skill-luck ratio. You have to plan your setup and your turns around maximizing your potential output. This could mean defensively to make sure you get a better setup for the next turn, or offensively to make sure the opponent doesn't have a next turn. The Witch is incredibly challenging and very hard to master, let me be honest. I still haven't done it, but just as equally a fun character to play as. From the very first run I did as him, the robot was my favorite character. He's essentially Blackjack, the character. The robot's mechanic revolves around gambling for dice values without busting. Your upper limit or magic number is dependent on your level, but starts at a 9 and caps at a 15. You use your dice, like everyone else, as ways to activate the skills you have. However, if you hit into a bust, all of your skills, with a few exceptions of course, are destroyed for that turn. If you manage to hit a jackpot in any way by skill, rolling, or using the special auto-roll ability, you then get to choose between 3 different rewards: healing, damage, or an additional roll. The character's mechanics alone make it my favorite, but when you add in gambling, chance, and some very fun skills in its move pool, the robot takes the lead as my favorite by a sizable gap. Well, that's gonna do it for my official ranking of the Dicey Dungeons characters, but before you go down to the comments and let me know your favorite characters in the game. For now, this has been Penta. You can catch me here, on YouTube, over on my Twitch channel, on Twitter, my own Discord server, and all the other places. Links, as always, are in the description of the video below. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.